Hey, what's up, guys? So I decided to come back with a little new one. In this one, I'm going to do the same UV unwrap, but this time I'm going to use a cone. Now, with a cone, it's a little bit more different because the idea is to make the islands of the cone flat, like with a cube. As you can see there in the UV, it's not flat, it's like circulated. And so we're going to edit that while keeping the basic shape of the cube as it were, so as to create a perfect UV. So what I'm going to do in my shader is create the image texture like I did prior, but this time with the object I'm going to slightly deform it so as to restructurize it back into a typical cone, but it's only going to be deformed primarily. So I will go into the verts mode and I will take this vertice or vert or vertex, but I'm going to take this vert and I'm going to bevel it ultimately, using Shift, Control, and B. Once I do that, I can now, as you can see in my UV mapping area, I have that island unwrapped, and now selected this seam which is unwrapped, and now I go and mark all the seams after selecting that one line there. I then select all of my cone and I unwrap it normally. As you can see, that's how it looks now. So I can select the two end verts and I press scale it. So I scale it via the y-axis via 0. If I do it via the x-axis, I get a different shape. So as my cone is via the y-axis, I had to press scale y0, and I do it with the other two verts as well. I select the two end verts and the two starting verts and click SY0 scale on the Y to 0. Then I click the two top verts and I scale them on the x-axis to 0. I do it to the two modified verts at the lower end as well. I click those two and I scale them down to 0, so everything's evened out, everything's leveled out evenly. With this, I can now click up at top and select the face of my verts of my cone, and then select fuller active quads as it were. Now I can move it into place and everything is unwrapped perfectly, just like the square before. There's no deform to the squares that make up the UV mapping. With that, I now just scale my UV island to the position in which I want it to suit my needs. I can stretch and scale it so everything's leveled out evenly, so there's no deformities, and once I'm satisfied, then I'll select the top edges. I'll loop the select the loop top edges and I will scale it down to 0, and now I have a perfect cone with perfect UV unwrapping. So I hope you guys enjoy it. After I've obviously scaled everything down to 0, at the top of the cone, it's slightly deformed, so that's where you might need to stretch your island a little bit, play around with it, toggle it to your preferred liking until you're satisfied with the image that you have, and there you are. So if you was doing photorealistic work, photorealism, or you're just mapping textures onto maybe your character or something of the sort, if the unwrapping schedule, if the unwrapping task is relatively challenging or demanding, like with the cone, now you know how to address that just as I do. I enjoy sharing. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoy what you saw. It's your boy Patience. Leave your thumbs, your likes, and your comments down below. And if you have any queries, guys, over and out.